Hi, this is Crista Cowan with Ancestry.com, here with another edition of One Question with the Barefoot Genealogist. I'm coming to you live from my grandmother's dining room table. I came to LA to do an all-day genealogy seminar and decided just to stick around for the holiday. So hopefully this works out for you and you can hear me okay. I'm on a wireless connection and we've had a few fits and starts, but we'll see how it goes. Today's question is, how do I get answers to my genealogy questions? Now, we've been doing these broadcasts for a couple of weeks, and you've been sending us your emails, and we get dozens of them a day, and we think it's terrific. I read through them, and I know Anne reads through them, Juliana reads through them, but we don't answer every one of those personally. The purpose for those emails is so that we can do broadcasts like this. Anne and I both have been doing that so that we can write articles in our newsletters or on our new Tumblr blog. And so the purpose of that is just to get your questions so that we can use them as case studies or examples in helping educate a lot of people at once. So today I'm going to talk about some ways to make those questions a little bit more likely to get answered, and then also some other resources that you can use to get those questions answered. So let's dive in. The first resource, of course, is going to be that email that I shared with you, that ask@ancestry.com. That's where you can reach me or Anne or Juliana and send us your questions. Another resource that is really, really great are the message boards on Ancestry.com. Let me show you where to find those. If you hover over the Collaborate tab on Ancestry, and then you go to Message Boards, you're going to come to a screen that looks like this. Now, if you scroll down just a little bit here, you'll see that you can browse the message boards by category, and the major categories are going to be by location, but you can then browse down to really specific counties, for example, and see what other people are asking about genealogy in the locations where your family lived, or you can post. So for example, I looked at a few questions today where people were asking about how my family has been in a certain county for, a couple of censuses and then they just disappear. And so maybe you could go to the message board for that county and post a question about the cemeteries in the area, what people know about researching, death records, migration patterns out of that county, those kinds of things could be posted on a location or a locality message board. You'll also notice here that you can just find a board for a specific topic. So you could type in a surname. So for example, right, my last name is Cowan. I could type that in. It would take me directly to the Cowan message board list. It looks like there's a few variations of that. I'm going to be interested in this top one here. And then from there, I have the option of searching that message board to see what questions other people are asking, who else is looking maybe for some of the same given names or in the same locations for that surname that I am, or I can begin a new thread and post my own question to that message board. Really, really, really useful message boards. We get hundreds of posts on our message boards every single day. Now, after message boards, one of the suggestions that I would give, and this might seem a little odd because it doesn't exactly answer the question about how to ask better genealogy questions, but it does make you a little bit more visible and the families you're searching a little bit more visible, is to make sure you update your Ancestry.com profile. Everybody on Ancestry.com, whether you have a paid subscription or not, has a profile, and that profile is searchable in our member directory. You can find it on Ancestry.com by just going up to the top. Now here you'll see it says my name, but when you're logged in it should say your name. And keep in mind that this is only on personal accounts, so you're not going to have this option available on if you're using Ancestry.com in a library or a family history center. So what I can do is I can click on that. I've already got the window open here, and it'll take you to my profile. Now there's that cute picture of me that was like 4 hair colors ago. So nobody that sees that is going to know any better. But one of the things we've discovered is that if you add a picture, whether it's a picture of you or a picture of your great-grandmother or your cat, it doesn't matter, that when you add a profile picture to any kind of online community kind of website like this, that you're more likely to get responses or to get people looking at your profile and asking some of those questions. Now, I chose to add a little bit of information here about me and about my genealogy experience, but the piece here that I really want you to pay attention to is the section entitled Research Interests. You'll see here that I've added 2 surnames, and it happens to be 2 projects that I'm working on right now with genealogy. The Mulliner surname, and Samuel Mulliner was my immigrant ancestor who came from Scotland. He lived in Canada for a while, he lived in Illinois for a while, he ended up in Utah, and he lived from 1809 to 1897. And so I've added that. You can see I've done the same thing here for Shipman. The Shipmans were another one of my immigrant lines. They came from Germany. They immigrated to Virginia and then into North Carolina and Kentucky. And that particular immigrant ancestor, his lifespan was 1715 to 1798. You can add as many of these as you want, and then those are searchable in our member directory here. And so other people can say, you know what, I want to see people who are looking for this same surname in these same locations in the same time period. So it's an opportunity for you to connect with other people who might be researching some of the same things that you're researching. So I would recommend that you update that public profile so that you have a way to get in touch with people, or people have a way to get in touch with you, and then search that member directory to see if other people are researching some of the same things that you are. Now, just a word on privacy. Any messages or contact information that goes on between our members is actually brokered by us. So we don't ever give another member your email address, nor do we give them yours. We simply send the message through to them and then vice versa. So unless you actually physically type your email address into the body of your message, they will continue to communicate with you solely through that service. Okay? And so that's kind of this next point, which is when you find somebody who's researching similar things or who has a tree online that looks like it might have information about your family, you can contact those other Ancestry members directly. And you're going to want to make sure that you're giving them, asking them the right genealogy questions, and that's what we're going to look at next. The final place where you can ask questions in the Ancestry.com genealogy community is on our Facebook pages. One of the things that I love about genealogists is that they are the most generous, probably collectively generous group of people I have ever met in my life. They're willing to help each other, they're willing to encourage each other, they're willing to provide suggestions, and even as long as I've been doing this, I still ask questions. You know, somebody comes to me and says, I'm trying to do research in Germany and it's in this town and it's this surname, and I know very little about German research. And so I'll put a question out on a message board or on the wall here at the Ancestry Facebook page, and it's amazing to me how quickly those questions start to get responses. And so you can post it here. This is the Ancestry.com Facebook page. I just want to point out that Ancestry.com is the name of the company, but it's also the name of the US-based website. We have websites in several other countries, and those other countries also have Facebook pages. So if you are a researcher in the UK and you happen to come across this video, or if you are a US-based researcher who has questions about doing research in the UK, for example, or in Australia, for example, you can go directly to those Facebook pages and post your questions there. That way you're reaching a community that's got a little bit more information or a little bit more experience in those kinds of records. So again, that's Ancestry.com, Ancestry.co.uk, and Ancestry.com.au for those Facebook pages. Now, let's get to the meat of today's topic, which is how to ask those genealogy questions. My first bit of advice is to make sure you ask one specific question. Now, I'll share some examples here with you in just a minute, some real life examples, but oftentimes we get emails that ask 10 or 12 questions in one email, and that's really overwhelming. That's overwhelming for us, and we do this all day. It's probably also going to be overwhelming if you're contacting another member or posting something on a message board or on the Facebook wall. So make sure that you narrow it down to one question, and make sure that that question is really specific, right? You don't want to say, I'm looking for my family tree. While you probably are, and while that's a noble goal, and it is one question, it's not very specific. And so think about it ahead of time and make sure that you're asking a really specific question. Number two, make sure that when you ask that question that you're including as much relevant information as possible. As much information as possible is good. Relevant information is better. So whatever your one specific question is, provide whatever information relates to that question. And then make sure you include where you've already searched. Oftentimes people will say, I can't find my great-grandmother, and here's what I know about her. And if they don't tell me where they've already searched, my response will be something like, well, have you checked the 1900 census and the 1910 census? And I'll give them some clues about how to do that. And then they'll come back to me and say, oh no, I already found her there. And so rather than having to go back and forth with people, if you provide them with the information about where you've already searched and found stuff, and also where you've searched and not found information, or where you've found somebody with the same surname but proven that that's not really them. That helps to provide people with a little bit more information so that they can help you with the right answers. And this seems kind of silly, but don't forget to actually ask the question. Sometimes we get these lovely emails that are paragraphs of information about your ancestor, and then you don't ask the question, and so we're not exactly sure what piece of information it is that you're looking for. We could give you suggestions about all sorts of things to do, but we need to know what it is that you're looking for. So don't forget to ask that question. Now I'm going to show you a couple of examples here, and these are not meant to embarrass anybody. I've removed the names of the email senders, but if you see your email among them, I hope that you'll take this in the spirit of learning something and not be embarrassed. I've included a couple of not so great examples and then a couple of really good examples, and maybe we can look at these and learn something together from them. The first one came in a week or so ago, and this was word for word. I just copied and pasted it. This person says, I'm trying to find my great-granddaddy's parents, but I do not know their names or have any other information, only my great-granddaddy's name. Is there any search I can do that will provide this? Now, without sounding too flippant, my immediate response when I read emails like this, and this is not uncommon, is I just want to reply and say yes, right? Her question was, is there any search I can do that will provide this information she's looking for? And the answer to that question is yes, there is there is a search. So again, make sure that you say what it is that you're looking for. But you'll also notice she doesn't provide us with any other information, right? She doesn't provide her great-granddaddy's name or what else she knows about him. She says here she doesn't have any other information, only his name. But my guess is if I was to start going back and forth with her, if we were sitting across a table from each other, that she probably does know more than just that. She probably knows her great-granddaddy's wife's name, and I would imagine that she knows the grandparent that is the child of that great-granddaddy, and when and where that child was born. And all of that kind of information are clues to help find his parents. Where was he living? Has she ever found him in a census? Did he ever serve in the military, right? All of those are questions that will help get her to the answer that I think she's looking for, but she didn't provide us with any information to give her direction to go. And so, like I said, this is not a unique example by any means. It's just one that I happened to pull out of the queue from this last week. So we can all do a little bit better here. Let me just show you one more that could use a little work. I think my grandmother, and then she provides her name. That's great. We're off to a good start. May have been born in Dallas County, Texas. We have a location. That's awesome. Perhaps in the late 1800s. Good. She died in 1907. That's a really specific date. I believe in Irving, Dallas County, Texas. Again, a location. And then she states, I cannot find one thing on her. Can you help? Now again, in my, I need to work on this, in my silly little head, I sometimes just want to respond, yes, we can help, right? I know what she's asking is, do you have any records or information on my grandmother? But that's not what she said, right? Not only that, what kind of a record is she looking for? What specifically, right? One specific question. She says that she thinks that she died in 1907 in Irving, Texas. Is she looking for a death record to corroborate that family story? Or does she already have a death certificate? Is that why she knows that she died in 1907? Or has she seen a tombstone in Irving and that's why she thinks she died there, right? And it says 1907 on the tombstone with no further date. So I hope you kind of see what I'm getting at, right? If I was sitting across a table from you, I would be asking you these kinds of questions. And these are the kinds of questions that I ask myself when I'm doing my own research. I formulate genealogy questions all the time that never get sent to anybody. They're how I direct my own research, right? And so, so what I'm looking at here is this woman, I would say she wants to know more about her grandmother's death. But maybe what she's really looking for is her grandmother's birth. And I don't know because of the way that the question has been worded. So again, this is not uncommon. Just make sure you think through what it is that you're looking for before you start asking those questions. Now I'm going to share with you two examples that are good examples of how to ask questions. They're going to seem really long, so don't be freaked out, right? But I do want to make sure that you understand the concept, right? So here is the first paragraph. Yes, the first paragraph. I am completely stumped, this person says, on why I cannot locate more on my great-grandparents. I've located them on the 1900 census for Pulaski County, Virginia. Great. She's told us where she's already looked and found them, but cannot locate them after that date. So I assume from that she has checked 1910 and 1920 and 1930 and hasn't been able to find them. She probably could have listed that just to make sure that we're on the same page, that I understand specifically, but that's the assumption. She then says, I am unable to find a census or death record for either of them, and I assume she means after that 1900 census. Then she says, can you help me figure out where they are and or what happened to them? She goes on. Provides us specifically with their names and the information she knows about them. My great-grandfather is William Edward Taylor. He was born October 1860 in Tennessee. I think I know who his father is. I think I know who his mother is, right? Makes sure that she includes that she's not sure that that information is accurate, but those are clues. Talks about who his wife is and what she knows about him. Talks about who their children are, right? All of this information. With this information, I was actually able to locate the exact record that she had already found, right? So here's William Taylor and Phoebe and their children in the 1900 census. With that, I could then give her further direction about where to go from here. You may also want to pay attention to the fact that when you find a record on Ancestry.com, oftentimes we'll give you suggested records that may pertain to the same person over here on the right-hand side of the page. So it looks like in this case we have a Virginia marriage record. It would be interesting to look at that and see if it's for William and Phoebe. And then a Tennessee census record. So those are, that's just an example of a really great email that allowed me to go exactly to where she was looking, and then I could provide her with further suggestions about what to do next. The last example that I want to look at today, again, of a really well-formulated genealogy query is this one. This person says, my grandmother Mildred Caroline Kimmerling, gives me the name, born in 1891, there's a date, in Chicago, there's a place. Her father, his name, his parents, which is great. Now I've got a little family tree built that I can kind of work from. Joseph was the first child in this family born in America, and she then tells me that she has a copy of a death certificate that lists his parents' birth information in Württemberg, Germany. Then she starts to formulate her question, right? Unfortunately, I don't know any more. My efforts to search German records have been fruitless as I don't know the exact village. She talks about some family legends that might help relate to place and time. And then she asks her very specific question about what I would do next. And so again, it provides me with the information that I need to be able to give her the answer that she needs, or to use this as an example. So, whew, that was a lot of information, and it's our time is up. I don't know where the time goes, but hopefully that gave you a little bit of a better insight into how you can ask questions to get the answers that you need. You can continue to email us at ask@ancestry.com. To get in the habit of, when you have a tough genealogy challenge, to write out that question just for yourself. One of the things I've learned is that it really helps. It really helps me to figure out where my holes are and where I can go next. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Until next time, this is Crista Cowan, and I hope you have fun climbing your family tree, no matter which direction you're going. Bye-bye.